Great. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto and bring them out of bite-sized pieces. Today, just as the thumbnail suggests, we got to take a look at exactly why that these whales are selling, and you can too, not that you should too. So the question is Rob a clown? Is this what it really comes down to? No, maybe. We'll take a look. So we'll take a look and we'll talk about getting the full story. We'll talk about how the markets are correlated. We'll talk about the two things I learned from yesterday's DCA show. And we'll talk about, finally, why this whale sells, but mostly buys. And lastly, we'll take a look at taxes which are coming up and a little Q&A, so hold all your questions until the end. So first of all, the question really comes down to this, and it is the big question, which is that title that I put out there, which was, should or whales sell and you can too? And people will look at this and they'll be like, they'll just go crazy. Rob must be a clown because I can't believe he would talk about this. And he would say that I can sell and everything else. It's not about that. It's not about that. I put on this ridiculous filter to prove a point. You have to get what I call the full story before we do anything else. Let me just turn this off for a second. And it really comes out of this. Look, you have to take a look at the story behind the story about what's going on. There's intricacies everywhere. So don't be too hasty. Let's take a look at some information. So first of all, let's, as a point of reference, today it is January 29th, about 12:50 Guaynabo, Puerto Rico time. Looking pretty good so far. The market's a little bit up, not too bad. Although when I was doing the research for this one, it was over $1.8 trillion. Now we've taken a little bit of a tumble at 1.784. So everybody is they're buying and they're selling. And right now there's a little bit of a push upwards. Bitcoin's up a little bit, yay. Ethereum 3.4%, Cardano's up a little bit, Binance Coin's a little bit down, and across the board a little bit choppy. Avalanche is doing pretty good, 6.8%, and so on and so forth. So when I talk about getting the full story, this is actually what I mean. So there was this great article about Arizona considers making Bitcoin legal tender. And just like what you saw with the title itself, there's different layers to this, because when I see this, you're going to hear this all over the place, and different YouTubers and on Twitter and different social media like, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, it's kind of just for show. And this article was put together by Casey Wagner, and you can follow her over here on Twitter, a definite follow. And I like what she did here, because she states the facts, which is what everybody should do. And then she takes both sides of what's going on to make this a reality. And could this actually be a reality, or is it just for show? So here's what we got as far as this article goes. And it states, let me go back down there again. Whoopsie. There we are. So, a state senator in Arizona has introduced a bill that will make Bitcoin legal tender. Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers, Republican, District 6, introduced the bill which seeks to add a statute to Arizona law making Bitcoin a legal currency on Tuesday. That sounds pretty good. That sounds great. I think everybody can appreciate that. That's just more ammunition to the fire. But wait. The coinage, the U.S. Constitution, might make passing the bill a challenge. And this is a statement from Preston Byrne, partner at law firm Anderson Kill. First of all, what a great name for a law firm, Anderson Kill. And he states, the coinage clause of the Constitution means that the power to determine what is and isn't legal tender in the U.S. is the exclusive province of Congress. If enacted, the bill would be largely symbolic. In the 1800s, states tried to work around the coinage clause by issuing their own state bank notes, but they had little success. In the National Bank Acts of 1865 and 1866, Congress effectively put an end to the practice by placing a 10% tax on payments made in currency other than national bank notes. Even if the bill does become law in Arizona, which, hey, it might actually do that, it's unlikely to have much impact on usage of Bitcoin in the state, so states Byrne. So Arizona could certainly pass a law like this, and the state government could choose to accept Bitcoin as payment for Arizona taxes, but this would not change the legal treatment of Bitcoin as property from a federal tax perspective. So I will just say this. For Wendy Rogers here to put this on the docket and try to get it passed is great. any news is good news. Anytime that we hear about Bitcoin, this is just like what Ben said over yesterday for the DCA show, that's good news for us. But for this to actually really have any kind of weight or effect really isn't so much of a big deal as is laid out in this article given to us by legal representation of what they think could potentially happen. I think it's great. I think it's good, but I think people are going to blow this out of proportion. I don't think it really moves a needle that much under the fact that maybe just a little bit of sentiment. So remember, when things come out, just try to get both sides of the story just to see exactly where we're at and not, go headlong in and go, wow, legal tender in Arizona, I should probably load up. Well, it's up to you. But these are the stories I like to see that are actually weighted and actually have two opinions. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And let's move on to our next piece. The markets are correlated. And this real quick, I actually tweeted this out. This was this morning. And again, it was at same price, roughly 37.8 here. Let me pull this up so you can see it. 37.8. It's amazing how it goes. 37.5. So we're down a little bit actually. And when we're taking a look at this, there's a little bit of an uptick because of really what's happening with the NASDAQ. Look at that. I mean, we had a nice little rally there yesterday, and also the S&P 500. And we see this again and again and again. And I can just tell you, like some people say, well, Rob, it's not really correlated with the traditional markets. I'm telling you right now, like when the traditional markets go up, we will go up. And that's really what it comes down to. So if we're rooting against the traditional markets, we really shouldn't, because this is really what it all comes down to. And I think there's just so much overlap. And I'm not a big fan of having our market correlated with the traditional market. But hey, we did say, did we not, that we wanted that institutional money to come in? That also includes hedge funds and things like that. And what market is open 24/7, 365? Well, Forex, and also our market. So if we want the good, all that money to slosh around, we also have to take the bad. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. So take a look at the NASDAQ, and as these traditional factors come about, just be aware that there's going to be some volatility moving on. All right. So that's what we got for that one. And then this is just a follow-up from yesterday. And this was from our DCA show, which we do every Friday. This is me and James from over Invest Answers and Ben from Into the Cryptoverse. And what I like about this one, there's two things I learned. First of all, don't have your, if you can see it, your dog in the right-hand corner just going along, doing whatever they want to do, because it'll be a nice little remembrance. But hey, at least you know it's not a green screen that I'm using. And the second thing that I learned from yesterday's DCA show, and this is what Ben was talking about. He was talking about whale number 3. And he kept saying whale number 3 and whale number 3. And there's this whale number 3 that keeps buying. It keeps buying, keeps accumulating. And then they've been selling at these specific times. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And I got a lot of questions for that on Twitter. What was Ben talking about this whale number 3? Well, glad you asked. So there's this great article. And it states, this was actually in January 6th, so a couple weeks ago or so. And it says, back again, the third largest Bitcoin whale swallows up another 24 million worth of Bitcoin in their dip. And it just goes over, and I linked this in the description so you can find, on January 4th, the whale's address at another 372 Bitcoin. The sum was purchased for was, X amount of dollars. This is a follow-up as they've been accumulating. But what's more important than the accumulation was when this whale specifically has sold. So I linked this article in the description. If you click on where it says address, it'll give you the whale number 3 address. And that's the address right here. So then you can copy that and you can put it over on BitInfo charts, and it'll show you all the transactions for that wallet. So very easy to do. I give you all the links. You can do it yourself. BitInfo chart, BITINFO charts.com. And you can see everything. And what I want to do is I just want to break down what this whale has done, because the question I always get from people is like, well, whales move the market. Well, yeah, they do. I mean, let's be honest that they do. But there's some interesting tidbits of information we can glean from what whale number 3 has done. First of all, let's look back at the very first transaction. This was on February 5th, 2019, 2200 hours. And whale number 3 They bought $3 of Bitcoin, $3 worth of Bitcoin, when it was priced at $3,405. First of all, what a great time to buy Bitcoin. February 5th, 2009. February 5th at $3,400. Let me do some quick math. 19, 20, 21. It's like only like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and you could have 10x in 3 years. It's not bad, beating the S&P 500. And then what I like about this is that they've been dollar cost averaging, which is adorable, at $20, and then at $9. This is how much they bought over that time span. Just in a couple of days, just to feel it out, see what it is. And then they did something that me and you can't do. They dollar cost average of $3 at $3,400, 20 at $3,600, $9 worth at $3,600. And they say, you know what, this works pretty good. Let's drop $4,044,719 at $3,600. Okay, so they did that. And then it looks like they're like, well, maybe I bought too much, or maybe I want to test this out. Let's see if there's little liquidity. So on February 13th, they sold $100 worth of Bitcoin. And all right, so now you sold it at $3,600, and actually you lost. This is the profits. You actually lost a little bit. And then of course, then they're like, okay, liquidity works pretty well. Let's see, in 6 hours or so, let's buy another 19 million or so and just start stacking. So what I want you to notice here is that whales sell. And I know that's a ridiculous example, but we'll get into it. Don't worry. But as you can see, what this whale and a lot of people are doing, they do accumulate quite a bit. So this is from 2019. Let's just look up. See everything in green right here? This is all just dollar cost averaging, plus 493, plus 943 Bitcoin. Now, we can't do that, right? I just can't pick up the phone and be like, hey, buy me 327 Bitcoin. I can't do that. But you can see along the timeline, like here, August, they say, you know what, maybe I should sell a little bit. Dollar cost average in, maybe dollar cost average out. Maybe take some profits along the way, because look at what the very first time they took profits was in August, when it was selling for $11,000. So imagine going from 3,500 to 11,000. You're probably like, you know what? That's getting a little bit crazy. Maybe I should take a little bit of profit. So all the things that we hear, and the reason why I did this video real quick is because I didn't realize this until I did a poll. And the poll I asked was, how long have you been in crypto? And the vast majority was 2021. And I'm like, what? 20? That's pretty early. I've been in since 2017. So we're playing a little bit different games. We just are. But the new people that are coming in are going to hear the same mantra, which is diamond hands, diamond hands, diamond hands, which is the exact same thing that I heard in 2017. Diamond hands, diamond hands. And you can't get away from it. You just can't. So when people are talking about that, you're like, I need to hold forever. And that's not the case. And on this channel, it's not investment advice, just investment opinion. But what I'm doing is, like, I fell for that too in the beginning, in all honesty. And I think that there's a better way to do things. And we can just take a look at what the whales do. And that might be a little bit what might be considered smart money. Now, am I saying to sell today? No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it does happen, and it can happen, and it's okay to sell a little bit we all want to change the world, right? But it'd be nice to actually change a little bit of our lives first. So let's just keep going in here. All right. So we've got this little tidbit of information. And then here's another interesting part, right? So on September 5th and September 4th, they sold another big, massive amount, 1,786 Bitcoin, again, at around 10,000. And what people ask me is like, well, this was in August and September. So the question then becomes, well, do whales move the market? They do. And are they right every time? Because that's a lot of money, right? 10,580. So if you take a look at September 5th, 2019, which is, I just went from September 1st, 2019 to the end of the month, 2019. They bought around, what was the date? September 5th. They bought around here, September 5th, 10,000. And they sold a bunch, right? And there was a bit of a down here. And now on the 6th, it dropped a little bit, 10,300. And then over a little bit of time, a couple of weeks or so, then it really went down, right? And then it just moved sideways for a bit. So, okay. So there's that part, right? Okay, maybe the whale moved the market. But let's just keep coming up here. How about this one? This one's interesting. This one now, everything's gone down. Now remember, they keep accumulating after this. They sold and it went down. 674, 1250, 1220, 915, 50, 320, a lot of Bitcoin. But at this point, they're like, something's going on. Maybe I should sell because maybe they got some information. Maybe do a bunch of TA. Maybe somebody from the White House tipped them off. I'm just kidding. I don't know. So on December 18, 2019, they're like, well, let's sell some more. Let's sell 3,000 Bitcoin at $8,700. Okay. So let's take a look. I have that. Between December 2019 and January 2019. So they sold on December 18th and January 14th. So they sold around here, which wasn't that much, right? And they sold around here. But it still went up. Then it went down a little bit, but then it went up a lot more than what it was. So remember, just in a little bit short of a time frame, it didn't really drop too much at all. And actually, I think they missed it because price still went up. But again, they don't care. So like, okay, well, I took profits along the way. I will never sell at the bottom and I will never sell at the top. There is no top. There is no top. If Bitcoin goes to 1 million tomorrow and you sell it, guess what? Someone's going to tell you you're a moron because it's going to go to 2 million. Okay. Again, keep going forward here. Little point of reference. This was at 8,700. Then here, something they were buying when it was 7,000, 9,000, 7,000, 4,000, 5,000. Then around 6,700, they're like, let me offload a little bit because I need to take some profits. Negative 1,500 Bitcoin. Okay, that's not bad. And then again, they started to accumulate when Bitcoin was 7,100, 6,800, 8,800. And then around when right below 10,000, let's sell 1,500 Bitcoin. Again, 1,500 Bitcoin. This was in July of 2020, and they sell again. So then they're like, hey, I'm doing pretty good because I'm buying here around 5,000, 6,000, and I'm selling around 10,000. All right, I'll take it. And then let's keep going. All up here, I want you to notice something. See all this green? This is just straight up dollar cost averaging, just crazy amounts that we can't do. And then, of course, there's a little bit of sell-off here. All right. And then keep going. Look at all that green. But they do take profits along the way because nobody ever went broke taking profits. Now we get to the interesting parts. You're doing a lot of dollar cost averaging. But once it hits these big numbers, look at this. October 5th, they sold at 50,000. October 7th, 8th, and 12th, they sold 6,700 Bitcoin. That's a lot. At between the prices of 50 and 56,000. That's in October. October? Yeah, which looks to be around right here. So did they miss it? Did they hit the top like everybody wants to tell you that they can predict, which they can't? October 12th and the 5th. So let's see. So they sold around right here at 56,000. They didn't do so hot because guess what? It went up to 66,000, then it dropped a little bit, and then up here, but then it went to 67,000 just a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks later. Oh, that's a bummer. But again, it doesn't matter because just like Nathan Rothschild states, fortunes are made by buying low and selling too soon. So lastly, I will just say this. There is one thing that was pretty amazing to me, which was these ones right here. At 67,000, they sold 1,500 Bitcoin. That was pretty much near the top that you can get. I think we topped out at 69,000. But again, as soon as they sold at 67,510, they started to pick up a little more Bitcoin and just went right back in to accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. And they sold, what they sell here? 1 Bitcoin? Watch out. And accumulating and accumulating. So that's what we have for that. And again, remember that quote. So that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention to talk about whales are selling, and you can too. I was very specific in how I worded this because I didn't want anybody to say, Rob, you're a clown. You come out here and you're telling me to sell, and because I was going to say whales are selling, you should sell. No, that's not a good idea. So whales are selling, you can sell, and you can sell, and it's okay. Just dollar cost average. Now, again, if you're coming 2021, Ben made a pretty good point yesterday. And he talks about, he goes, a lot of people make their fortunes, maybe not in the first bull run, but maybe in the second one. And during this time, this is when millionaires are made. And that whale number 3, he's doing a pretty good job. All he's doing is just accumulating and just being super patient. Then when the price, hits a specific point where it's going up pretty crazy, he's like, maybe I should take some profits. That's it. Not telling you what to do, just telling you that's what this whale number 3 does. Let me just think about that in the comments section. And then let's move on. Oh, that's it, really. Yeah. Hey, that went pretty fast. Taxes coming up. Q&A. Again, hold your questions. Let's see. So, one more thing. I'm doing the update to Puerto Rico Living video, all the things that I've discovered since moving here in April, the things I would have changed, and the question is, would I do it again? I will tell you right now, I would do a lot of things differently, and I'll talk to you about that in the video. One of those are the people that you should trust when you come over here, and for as far as legal advice and stuff like that. So that's going to be a big one. I'll put that out. Also, if you're in the good old USA, guess what? You got taxes coming up. So just remember that CryptoTrader.tax, the one I use, I still got to do taxes. I still have to do taxes for my businesses, and as it relates to cryptocurrency. So by the time I set this up and shipped it off to my CPA, the very first time I used it took me 30 minutes. So what I would recommend, and I recommend this because I use it, I still use it, there is a link. There's a link in the description. It looks something like this. And you click on there. There's a how to use video, an explainer video. And there's also a 20% off code so you can use CryptoTrader.tax. And that's all. So let's get into some Q&A, shall we? All right. That tax is big. I'll give you one more. On this channel, I don't like to do a lot of the hypey stuff because I could, and people would love it. I'm telling you right now, I used to do like crazy price predictions when I first started, and it never went off too well. So like when you just be aware of the people that do all the hype and stuff, because that's just good for viewership, and they're gonna talk to you and like, there's gonna be a moon. And it's going to keep going up, and it's going to be awesome. We're never going to come back down. It doesn't really work like that. So just remember that. Besides that, I'm just trying to give you both sides of the same story. So that's what we got. All right, Q&A. This is a good question. Good day, Dan. Good day. Are you worried from the macroeconomic point of view regarding the IMF's plans for SDRs? Look, the IMF has a lot of plans. The International Monetary Fund has a ton of plans and a ton of different things they want to do. First of all, they wanted, I will tell you this, they told El Salvador they better not put Bitcoin as legal tender. And if they did that, they would not bail them out. They wouldn't give them any loans. And El Salvador says, no, we don't really care. And we'll see how that all plays out. But it's amazing to me that different countries are looking into it, Turkey being one of them. I believe the mayor of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil says he wants to use Bitcoin as legal tender. And we'll see how many other ones it comes down the pipe. And we'll see. So do I have a concern of IMF? There's so many moving parts and so many things to see. It's very tough. And that's what we got. I'm not too concerned right now, unless they do something crazy, but we'll see. I'm more concerned about the bill, the recent bill that's being put on the floor of Congress called America Competes. Because if that one goes through, and I did a video on this a couple of days ago, and I told you to contact your congressmen and women, because if that goes through, they can shut down crypto exchanges and crypto in general, as long as the Treasury so seems fit. So that's it. The biggest loan sharks, IMF. Aiden Anderson, welcome, new member. Thanks so much. Rob, any good guests for upcoming DC episodes like True and George? Well, I don't think Guests maybe, but we're kind of packed with just me, James, and Ben. And George had to step down because George does like 2 streams a day, and he also has another YouTube channel which deals with vehicles. So he's like, I'm kind of burnt out, and I was like, that's okay, and that was it. So if we get a guest, I'll let you guys know. I will have Steve Ehrlich, the CEO of Voyager, on Monday, I think. So I'll tell you all about that. Bro, turn the rocket back on. No. You may be a little high. I'm not for sure. West side of the island. I like to go a lot of places. Yeah, need to get out to Rincon again, but I think that's the eastern side. I think I can't remember. Where are we? And that's it. I think. Did I answer all the questions? I must be doing my job pretty well. Here's a good question. Where do you see Cardano's price going? I'll give you a price prediction right now. I'll pull this up. Price predictions. Cardano's price for 2022 will be between $1.06 and $2. Price prediction, 2022. You're welcome. That's all I got. I don't know. I think the big thing will be if they can implement Hydra, layer 2 scaling solution, and really turns up those transactions per second. That's the big thing. And then of course that's the off-chain. The on-chain stuff is even more important. Thanks for saying. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Rob, what do you think about LTC? Litecoin? I don't have any Litecoin. Are you still DCAing into ETH? In a manner of speaking, yes. I have to DCA into ETH because that is what I have a loan out for Ethereum on Celsius, and I got margin called, so I have to keep buying Ethereum. So yeah. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. Cute graphics. They are cute. They're adorable. I mean, we take it so seriously. It shouldn't be that bad. So is Sol. And look at it. Sol. Look, James made a pretty good point about Solana. Shocker. Just kidding. But he did make a good point about Solana, which was, Biden came out and he wants to put America first, all that stuff, and America competes. Well, that's not him. That's another senator. But he did say, or representatives of the Biden administration did talk about how crypto digital assets are national security. And James said, hey, remember who one of the biggest donors for Biden's campaign was? It was Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the CEO of FTX, that huge exchange, also a multi-billionaire. And also, Sam is a huge believer in Solana. So if you're going to push that agenda, that'd be a way to do it. And I wait, $30 Bitcoin I'd buy. Yeah. And let's see. So this is an interesting question. Hi, Rob. Do you know how crypto tax applies to native Puerto Ricans? So I was talking to my new lawyer for Act 60 and everything else. And I'll do that in the video. He talks about how that Act 60 is actually open up to native Puerto Ricans. There's a new provision, and I will get his information about that and tell you all about it. So yeah, that's what I can tell you. Because before, Puerto Ricans who lived here couldn't be a part of that. Now there's a subset or a subsection. So I'll let you know. Ooh, so good. I have my portfolio has one green and then all red. I have some staked, some on exchanges. It's going to have to stay there until it's all green. It's a good way to look at it if you think about it. What worries me in crypto right now? What worries me in crypto right now is the irrational fears that the traditional markets have. I would like to think I know where we're going. I see things very positively in the crypto market and digital asset market. The problem is, and that's why I'm always talking about it, is in the traditional side, all the different, retail investors and hedge fund managers and all those people that are actually investing in the traditional market are tanking it because they're so worried that Jerome Powell is going to come out at some point and talk about, I'm going to raise these rates, and we're going to taper off, all the buying, the bonds and things like that. And they're just so worried. They're just like, we got to sell, we got to sell, we got to sell. I'm like, Peter Lynch, he talked about how, I'll pull it up. There's a great quote. And let me find it. I found it already. Well, there's two great quotes, actually. I'll show them to you both. Peter and Peter. Let me pull this up. Oh, sorry, you can't. It's kind of tough to talk about if you can't see it. So there's two quotes. Everyone has the brain power to make money in stocks. Not everyone has a stomach. That's from Peter Lynch, which makes a lot of sense, I think. And then this is the one right here. Far more money has been lost by investors preparing for corrections or trying to anticipate corrections than has been lost in the corrections themselves. So just remember those types of quotes when things come out and things get a little dicey. That's how I see things. All right. And then the last question of the day. What do you guys got? Yeah. So Wait and See says he never talked about selling before. He sold his Bitcoin secretly. Boo-hoo. So there's a link in the description, and it's called All Exits, my all exit strategy. It is one of my first, I think like one of the first videos I did in the first 6 months of this channel. I've had the channel for 2 years. I talked about my exit strategy at 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000. And I told you specifically I was going to sell Bitcoin when it hit 60,000 and 40,000. And guess what? I sold a little bit, not all of it, obviously. Some about 20% or 50% of the whole thing. So like not a ton. And the day after I sold it, I actually came on here on my channel and said, I sold Bitcoin. And everybody said, you're a moron. You're a moron, Rob. You are a clown. Don't you know that Bitcoin's going up to 150,000? All the smarter people than you, which is not hard, said that it's going to 150,000. I fell in that trap too. And I'm like, well, I needed that money because that was my goal. And that's what happened. So there we go. And I'll leave it at that. So that's it for today. Great one. Exactly. And that's it for today. So thanks so much, everybody, for dropping by. I appreciate it. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. A lot of things we talk about are time sensitive, and that's it for today. So thanks so much. I appreciate it. See you on the next one.